The shuttle came down slowly, through thick gray clouds. Glacier Prime was a world of endless ice. The temperature outside stayed around minus 80 degrees Celsius. The air was full of nitrogen and methane. It was poison to most species. The gravity pulled harder than on many planets, almost twice what humans felt on Earth. The surface looked like broken glass. Sharp ice covered everything. Winds howled and cut like knives. Inside the control tower of the Galactic Institute of Xenobiology, two professors watched the landing. Professor Vexar was tall and thin. His body had a hard exoskeleton like an insect. His many eyes blinked fast. He stood next to Dr. Lyra. She had soft feathers that changed color when she felt stress. Right now, her feathers were dark blue. Both of them felt very worried. "This human student," Vexar said in a low voice, "he comes from a death world. Earth. We read the files. Volcanoes, storms, predators, heat that burns skin, cold that freezes blood. How can one of them survive here?" Lyra moved her wings a little. "The exchange program said he is healthy. But Glacier Prime kills even our strongest students if they forget one small thing. A broken seal, a slow heater, one mistake, and it is over." They looked at the screen. The shuttle touched down on the landing pad. Steam rose where the hot engines met the ice. The door opened. Cold air rushed in. Then a young human stepped out. His name was Ji-hoon. He wore only a simple jacket, pants, and no shoes. His feet were bare. Vexar made a sharp clicking sound. His mandibles opened wide. "No suit, no boots. He will freeze in seconds." Lyra's feathers turned almost black. This must be an error. The human delegation sent a broken one. Or maybe he is already dead, and this is a trick. Ji-hoon walked forward. His bare feet touched the ice. Each step made a small hiss. The ice under his soles melted just a tiny bit from his body heat. Steam came up around his toes. He did not run. He did not shiver. He walked like he was on a warm beach. The professors stared. Their assistants in the tower made worried noises. One small amphibian student fainted and fell to the floor with a wet sound. Ji-hoon looked up at the tower. He smiled and waved. His breath came out in white clouds, but his face looked calm. "Hello," he called. His voice came through the speakers. "Nice place. A bit cold on the feet, but not bad." Vexar turned to his control panel. "Medical team, emergency, full rescue gear. Bring thermal blankets, stim shots, everything. The human is exposed." Two medical drones flew out fast. They carried big bags. Behind them came 4 aliens in heavy suits. They moved slowly because the suits were thick. They reached Ji-hoon in less than a minute. Ji-hoon looked at them. "Oh, hi, you guys okay? You look hot in those." One medic, a tall creature with 4 arms, held out a blanket. "Cover yourself. Your skin will crack. Your blood will stop." Ji-hoon took the blanket but did not wrap it around himself. He put it over his shoulders like a cape. "Thanks, but I'm fine, really. The ground is sharp though. Feels like walking on small rocks." He lifted one foot. The sole had small red lines where the ice had cut him, but the cuts looked shallow. Already the skin was closing. Humans healed fast in stress. The medic's eyes went wide inside the helmet. "He bleeds, but he walks, on ice that cuts metal." Ji-hoon started walking again toward the main building. His bare feet left dark wet marks on the white ice. Each step crunched. Steam rose behind him like smoke from a fire. Inside the tower, Vexar spoke fast. "This cannot be. Our models say unprotected skin dies in under 5 minutes. Limbs freeze in 10. Organs fail in 20. He has been out for almost 3 minutes already." Lyra checked the sensors. His body temperature is normal. Core at 37 degrees. Skin on feet, 31 degrees. He is losing heat, but very slowly. How? Ji-hoon reached the entrance door. It opened with a hiss of warm air. He stepped inside. The floor was heated to -40 for comfort. Most species found it nice. Ji-hoon rubbed his hands together once. Ah, warmer in here. Good. He looked around. The hall had high ceilings. Walls made of clear material showed the storm outside. Students from 20 different species sat in rows. They all stared at the human. One small furry student whispered, "Is that the Deathworlder? He has no shell, no feathers, no scales, and no suit." Another student, a creature like a living crystal, made a ringing sound of fear. "His feet are naked. He will shatter." Ji-hoon saw them staring. He gave a small wave. "Hi everyone, I'm Ji-hoon, from Earth. Nice to meet you." Professor Vexar and Dr. Lara came down the stairs fast. Vexar clicked his mandibles. "Student Ji-hoon, you must put on a suit. Now, this is not safe." Ji-hoon looked down at his feet. "Suit for what? I'm okay. The cold feels fresh, like early winter morning back home." Lyra stepped closer. Her feathers were still dark. "You do not understand. This world kills. The ice here is harder than your bones. The air burns lungs. The wind tears flesh." Ji-hoon nodded slowly. "I read the guide. Sounds tough. But Earth has bad days too. I once ran a race in snow with no shoes. -15, feet hurt after, but I finished." The professors looked at each other. Vexar spoke quietly. -15, and he calls it a race? Our young ones die at -20 in suits. Ji-hoon smiled again. "Don't worry. I'll be careful. Where is my room? I want to put my bag down." The professors did not move. They watched him stand there, bare feet on the cold floor. No sign of pain. No shaking. Just calm. Outside, the storm grew stronger. Winds screamed against the walls. Ice hit the windows like bullets. Inside, the room was quiet, except for the soft hum of machines. Everyone watched the human from Earth. They were terrified, not because he was weak, but because he was not. The big lecture hall was quiet, except for the low hum of the heating system. The temperature inside was set to -40 degrees Celsius. For most students, this felt warm and comfortable. Their suits and natural bodies liked it. Bright lights shone on rows of seats made for different shapes. Some seats were low, for short creatures. Some were high, with perches for winged ones. In the front stood a large hollow screen, showing pictures of Glacior Prime. Ji-hoon walked in last. His bare feet made soft pats on the cold floor. He carried a small bag on one shoulder. He looked around and found an empty seat near the middle. He sat down carefully. His toes curled a little against the chill, but he did not complain. Professor Vexar stood at the front. His hard shell clicked when he moved. Dr. Lyra stood beside him. Her feathers were still a worried shade of blue. They had talked for a long time after Ji-hoon arrived. They decided to start the orientation as normal. Maybe seeing the dangers would make the human understand. Vexar tapped a control. The hollow screen lit up with a big map of the planet. Red lines showed danger zones. "Welcome, new students," he said. His voice came through translators in everyone's ears. "This is Glacior Prime, our home for your studies. But remember, this world does not forgive mistakes." He pointed to the screen. Surface temperature averages -80. Winds reach 200 kilometers per hour. The atmosphere is nitrogen methane. One breath without a filter and your lungs burn like fire. Ice here is not soft snow. It is hard as rock. Sharp edges cut through most materials. Dr. Lyra stepped forward. Gravity is 1.8 times standard. Walking feels heavy. Falling can break bones. Cryoquakes happen without warning. The ground opens and swallows things whole. The students listened. Some nodded. Others checked their suit readouts. A small jelly-like student shook in its tank. Ji-hoon listened too. He rubbed his bare feet together under the seat. The floor felt cold, like stepping on ice cubes, but it was not painful. He raised his hand slowly. Vexar saw it. He hesitated. Yes, student Ji-hoon? Ji-hoon spoke clearly. Thank you for the information. It sounds very hard. But how do you all walk outside without shoes? The ice looks sharp. Doesn't it hurt your feet? A few students made surprised sounds. One feathered one laughed nervously. Vexar clicked his mandibles. We do not walk without protection, ever. He pointed to a table beside him. On it sat a pair of thick boots. They looked heavy. Metal plates covered the bottom. Heating coils glowed inside. These are standard cryo boots. Triple layers. Thermal lining. They last about 6 hours before the batteries die. Even then, we check for cracks every few minutes. Without these, the cold seeps in. Skin freezes. Nerves die. Then the limb must be removed to save the body. Ji-hoon nodded. I see. So everyone wears them all the time? Yes, Vexar said firmly, except in heated buildings. Ji-hoon looked at his own feet. On my world, we sometimes walk barefoot in snow or on cold ground. For fun, or to train. It makes the feet strong. The room went very quiet. A tall student with scales whispered to his neighbor. He says barefoot for fun? Vexar stared at Ji-hoon. You walk on frozen water without protection for training? Ji-hoon smiled a little. Yes, there's a thing called ice swimming. You jump into cold water, very cold, -degrees, then swim. People do it every winter. Also, barefoot runs on snowy mountains. Feet get red and numb, but they get used to it. Dr. Lyra's feathers puffed up. Your species does this on purpose? Ji-hoon shrugged. Others think it's crazy, but it shows what the body can handle. Vexar turned back to the screen. He tried to continue the lecture. Now let us look at the cryoflora, plants that live in the deep ice. Ji-hoon stood up slowly. Professor, may I ask something? Vexar stopped. Everyone looked at the human. Ji-hoon walked to the big window at the side of the hall. The glass was thick and clear. Outside, the storm blew hard. Snow and ice hit the window like small stones. The temperature reading on the wall showed -70. Ji-hoon pressed his bare hand against the glass. The cold hit his palm right away. Frost started to form around his fingers. His skin turned pink, then a little white at the edges. But he did not pull away. He kept his hand there. Students gasped. One small one covered its eyes. Ji-hoon spoke calmly. This feels refreshing, like opening a freezer door back home. He took his hand off. The frost stayed on the glass in the shape of his palm. His skin looked normal again in seconds. A little red, but no blisters. No pain on his face. Dr. Lyra flew closer. Her wings beat fast. You touched -70 glass. With no glove, your hand should be damaged. Ji-hoon looked at his palm. It's okay. A bit tingly, like when you hold ice too long. Vexar stepped forward. His voice shook a little. Human biology, it should not do this. Our scans say your skin has no special armor, no fur, no scales. How? Ji-hoon thought for a moment. We have blood vessels that close when it's cold. They keep heat inside. Also, we make more heat when we need it. And our nerves, they ignore some pain if it's not too bad. A student in the back fainted. Its body made a soft thud. Helpers rushed over. Ji-hoon went back to his seat. He sat down. I just wanted to show it's not so bad. The professors looked at each other. Vexar spoke quietly to Lyra. He is not lying. The sensors show his hand temperature dropped to -10 on the surface. Yet no cell damage. His body fights back. Lyra whispered, Deathworlder. The word is real. They come from a place that tries to kill them every day. and they answer by walking on ice without shoes. The lecture continued, but no one paid full attention. Eyes kept going to Ji-hoon. He sat quietly. Sometimes he rubbed his feet on the floor. Sometimes he smiled at the hollow pictures. Outside, the wind screamed louder. Inside, fear grew. Not fear of the planet, fear of what a human could do on it. After the lecture, students gathered in small groups. They talked in low voices. "Did you see his hand? He said ice swimming is fun. What kind of world makes that normal?" Ji-hoon stood up to leave. Min-so, another human student, walked over. She wore a light suit, but had boots. She spoke in Korean first, then switched to common tongue. "Ji-hoon-ah, you're making them crazy." Ji-hoon laughed softly. "I didn't mean to. It's just cold. Not death cold." Min-so shook her head. "They think you're going to die any minute." Ji-hoon looked out the window. Frost still showed his handprint. Maybe they'll relax when they see I don't. But deep down, the professors knew something. The human was not in danger. The danger was in how little danger he felt. And that terrified them more than any storm. The next morning, the institute buzzed with nervous energy. Professor Vexar had decided enough was enough. The human student Ji-hoon needed to see real danger. Maybe then he would stop acting like the deadly cold was nothing. Vexar called it a mandatory field exercise. Everyone had to go. No excuses. The goal was simple. Cross a 2-kilometer stretch of Glacior crevasse field. Collect samples of rare cryoflora that grew deep in the cracks. The plants glowed faint blue and helped study how life survived extreme cold. But the path was full of danger. Hidden cracks in the ice, sudden drops hundreds of meters deep, winds that could push a person over the edge. All students gathered at the equipment room. They put on heavy suits, triple layers of insulation, heating coils sewn into the fabric, thick helmets with clear visors, heavy boots with metal grips, oxygen filters for the thin, toxic air. Each suit weighed almost as much as the student wearing it. The suits made walking slow and clumsy. Ji-hoon stood at the side. He wore only his usual jacket, pants, and no shoes. His bare feet rested on the heated floor. Min-seo, the other human student, walked over to him. She already had her suit on. "Ji-hoon, please, just wear the boots, at least the boots." Ji-hoon smiled. "It's just a short walk. I'll be fine. Shoes make my feet sweat. Then they get cold faster." Min-seo sighed. "You're crazy. But Tae-woo already bet you couldn't finish barefoot. He said if you do, he buys you dinner for a week." Ji-hoon laughed quietly. "Then I have to win." Professor Vexar watched from the doorway. His mandibles clicked in worry. Dr. Lyra stood beside him. "This is madness," she whispered. "We should force him into a suit." Vexar shook his head. "The exchange rules say we cannot force medical protection unless life is in immediate danger. And he refuses." 20 students in full gear. Drones flew above to watch. Ji-hoon walked at the back. His bare feet touched the ice the moment they left the building. The surface was rough. Small sharp ridges cut into his soles right away. Tiny drops of blood appeared, but he kept walking. The cuts closed fast. His body worked hard to heal. The wind hit them hard as they left the shelter. It screamed across the flat ice. Snow and ice particles flew like needles. Visibility dropped. The suits had lights on the helmets. They glowed yellow in the white storm. Professor Vexar led the way. He checked a scanner. "Stay in line. Follow the marked path. One wrong step, and you fall." Ji-hoon walked steady. His feet felt the cold deep now, but it was familiar. Like the time he hiked barefoot in the Korean mountains during winter. The pain was there, but dull. His mind pushed it away. Halfway across, the storm got worse. The wind rose to 200 kilometers per hour. It pushed against the students like a wall. Ice shards hit the suits. Some heating coils sparked and died. Alarms beeped in helmets. A small feathered student slipped. His boot caught on a crack. He fell forward. His suit scraped the ice. The heating failed. Cold rushed in. He screamed through the comms. "Help! My suit is breaking!" Others tried to reach him, but the wind was too strong. They moved slow in the heavy gear. Ji-hoon saw it. He did not hesitate. He ran forward. Bare feet slapped the ice. Blood from new cuts mixed with melting snow. Steam rose from his tracks. He reached the fallen student. With one hand he grabbed the suit collar. With the other he held the arm. He lifted. The student was heavy in the suit, but Ji-hoon pulled him up easily. "Hold on," Ji-hoon said over the wind. He carried the student toward the group. The wind tried to push him back. Ice cut his feet deeper, but he kept going. Another student fell, a crystal-bodied one. Its sharp edges cracked on the ice. It could not stand. Panic spread. Ji-hoon set the first one down near the group. Then he went back. He picked up the second student. This one was heavier. Ji-hoon grunted but lifted it over his shoulder. He walked back. His breath came in short white clouds. His face was red from cold and effort. But his eyes were calm. Min-so ran to help. She grabbed one arm of the crystal student. "Ji-hoon, your feet." "I'm okay," he said. "Just keep moving." Over the comms, Tae-woo's voice came through. He was in a suit near the front. "Ji-hoon, you idiot! You're bleeding everywhere." Ji-hoon laughed a little. "Dinner's on you, Hung." The professors watched from the monitoring station back at the institute. Screens showed everything. Drone cameras zoomed in on Ji-hoon. His bare feet left bloody prints. But the blood stopped flowing fast. The cut sealed. His body temperature stayed steady. Core warm. Extremities cold, but working. Vexar stared. He carries them, in this storm, with no protection. Dr. Lyra's feathers trembled. His feet are torn, but he does not stop. How much pain can he ignore? The group reached a small shelter hole in the ice, a cave dug for emergencies. They crowded inside. Heaters turned on. The temperature rose to -20. Students took off helmets. They breathed hard. Ji-hoon came in last. He set down the last rescued student. Then he sat on the floor. His feet were red and raw. Blood mixed with dirt and ice, but the wounds looked smaller now, healing already. Min-seo knelt beside him. She took out a small med kit from her suit. "Let me clean them." Ji-hoon shook his head. "It's fine. They'll close soon." She looked at him. "You're scary sometimes." Ji-hoon smiled. "Just stubborn." But inside the shelter, the students talked in low voices. "He saved 2 of us. Barefoot, in that wind." A small jelly student floated closer. "Human, are all of you like this?" Ji-hoon thought. "Not all, but many. We grow up with hard things, cold winters, hot summers, big storms. We learn to keep going." Professor Vexar entered the shelter. He had come in a fast transport. His shell had frost on it. He looked at Ji-hoon's feet, then at his face. "You should not be alive. Not like this." Ji-hoon met his eyes. "But I am." Vexar clicked softly. "We thought you were reckless. Now I see you are something else." Ji-hoon stood up slowly. His feet hurt, but he walked to the entrance. He looked out at the storm. "We still need the samples, right?" Vexar stared. "You want to continue?" Ji-hoon nodded. "The plants are close. I can go quick." The professor did not answer right away. Then he said, "No, we return, all of us." But in his mind, something changed. The terror was still there, but now it mixed with something new. Wonder. They started back. Ji-hoon walked in front this time, bare feet on the ice, blood trails fading behind him. The storm pushed, but he did not fall. The other students followed. Some limped in broken suits. Some watched the human with wide eyes. Glacior Prime tried to kill them every day, but today it met something that refused to die, and the professors saw it clearly. The Deathworlder was not afraid. The transport shuttle flew low and fast, back to the Institute. Inside, the rescued students sat quietly. Their suits were damaged. Some still shivered, even with emergency heaters on. Ji-hoon sat near the back. His bare feet rested on the cold metal floor. The cuts on his soles had mostly closed now. Only thin red lines remained. His jacket had small tears from the wind. But he looked calm. He stared out the small window at the white storm. Professor Vexar and Dr. Lyra waited at the landing pad. They had rushed ahead. When the shuttle door opened, cold air rushed in. Vexar stepped forward first, his many eyes fixed on Ji-hoon. "Student Ji-hoon," he said. His voice was tight. "Come with us, to the medical lab." Now, Ji-hoon stood up. "Okay, but I'm really fine." They walked through long white halls. Lights glowed soft blue. Machines hummed behind walls. Students in the halls stopped and stared as the group passed. Whispers followed them. In the lab, bright lights came on. A big scanner bed stood in the center. It looked like a smooth white table with arms that moved. Screens covered one wall. They showed body maps and numbers. Dr. Lyra pointed to the bed. "Lie down, please." Ji-hoon did. He lay flat, his bare feet hung off the end a little. The scanner arms moved over him. Soft blue lights swept from head to toe. Machines beeped. Vexar watched the main screen. Numbers and colors changed fast. Lyra stood close. Her feathers moved slowly now, not dark with fear, more like deep thought. After a minute, the scanner stopped. The screen showed a full image of Ji-hoon's body. Red and yellow spots marked cold areas, but no serious damage. Lyra spoke first. His core temperature never dropped below 36.5, even when his feet were at -15 on the surface. His blood vessels constricted fast. Kept heat in the important parts. Vexar clicked his mandibles. His skin, it has layers we did not expect. Thin fat under the surface. Special proteins that act like insulation. And the healing, small cuts closed in under 10 minutes. Normal for his species? Ji-hoon sat up. "Yeah, we call it vasoconstriction and regeneration. Happens faster when the body is stressed. Cold makes it work harder." Vexar turned to him. "Explain, how does a species like yours survive? Earth is chaotic. We have files. Earth has ice ages, deserts, oceans that swallow land, animals that hunt in packs, air full of oxygen that rusts metal, radiation from your sun, volcanoes that cover skies. How are you not gone?" Ji-hoon thought for a second. He looked at his hands. "We got stubborn. That's the simple answer." Lyra tilted her head. "Stubborn?" Ji-hoon smiled a little. "Our world tried to kill us a lot. Cold winters where food was gone, hot summers with no water. Big animals that ate us, storms that destroyed homes. But we did not hide. We made fire. We made clothes from animal skins. We built houses from stone. We walked long distances with no shoes to find better places. We swam in cold rivers. We climbed high mountains in thin air. Every time something tried to stop us, we said no. We kept going." Vexar stared. "You classify danger as training?" Ji-hoon nodded. "Kind of. There is a saying on Earth, what does not kill you makes you stronger. We test ourselves, run in snow, swim in winter seas, walk barefoot on hot sand or sharp rocks. It hurts. But after, the body gets better. Tougher. We like that feeling." The professors were quiet. Min-so and Tae-woo came into the lab. They had taken off their suits. Min-so carried a warm drink for Ji-hoon. She gave it to him. "Here, you look cold." Ji-hoon took it. "Thanks." He sipped. Steam rose from the cup. Tae-woo looked at the professors. You guys okay? You look like you saw a ghost. Vexar spoke slowly. We are trying to understand. Your friend. He carried 2 students in a storm that would kill most of us. Barefoot. Bleeding. And now he sits here, drinking hot liquid, like nothing happened. Minseo laughed softly. That's Ji-hoon. Back home he does winter hikes. No gloves, no hat, just to feel alive. Tae-woo added, there is a race in Korea. People run up snowy mountains. Some do it barefoot, or in light shoes. Feet bleed, but they finish, and smile. Lyra's feathers lifted a little. You do these things on purpose? Ji-hoon nodded. Yes, it makes us feel strong, like we control the world a little, not the other way around. Vexar walked closer. He looked at Ji-hoon's feet again. The red lines were almost gone. Your pain tolerance, it is very high. Ji-hoon shrugged. Pain is just information. Tells you something is wrong. But if you know it will pass, you can ignore it for a while. The professors looked at each other. Vexar spoke. We were wrong. We thought you ignored danger because you were foolish. But you see danger. You know it well, and you still walk into it, barefoot, because you can. Ji-hoon finished his drink. Not always. Sometimes we are scared, but fear does not stop us. We move anyway. Lyra stepped forward. Tell us more. About Earth. The cold parts. Ji-hoon thought. In my country winter comes hard. Snow piles high. Rivers freeze thick. People still go out. Kids play in snow with no coats sometimes. Old people walk to markets in thin jackets. Fishermen go on ice to catch fish. Holes in ice. They sit there hours. Cold wind. But they laugh, drink hot soup, go home, do it again. Tae-woo smiled. And saunas. Hot rooms. Then jump into snow or cold water. Body goes from hot to freezing. Feels good. Minseo added, some people swim in Han River in January. Water is near zero. They say it cleans the body, clears the mind. The professors listened. Their fear changed slowly. It became something else. Not terror. Respect. Deep respect. Vexar spoke quietly. Your species evolved on a death world. Every day tried to end you. Instead of running away, you fought back. You turned pain into power, cold into friend, danger into story. Ji-hoon looked at him. We just kept living, one day at a time. Lyra's voice was soft. We study life, how it survives, but we never saw anything like this. You do not just survive. You celebrate survival. Ji-hoon stood up. Can I go rest now? Feet are a bit sore. Vexar nodded. Yes, but thank you for showing us. Ji-hoon walked out. Minseo and Tae-woo followed. The professors stayed in the lab. They looked at the scanner images again. Vexar said, we were terrified when he arrived. Barefoot on our ice. Lyra answered, now we know why. He is not broken by our world. Our world is small to him. Outside the lab, Ji-hoon walked down the hall. His bare feet left faint wet marks, but no blood this time. The storm still blew outside, but inside, something new started. Understanding. The aliens no longer saw a reckless student. They saw a Deathworlder, and for the first time, they were not afraid. They were amazed. The days after the field exercise passed quietly at first. The institute felt different. Students no longer whispered in fear when Ji-hoon walked by. They watched him with wide eyes, but now the looks held wonder instead of panic. Word of the Barefoot Deathworlder spread fast. Messages flew across the galaxy network. Other schools asked for videos. Professors from warmer worlds requested data on human cold tolerance. Ji-hoon went back to normal life. He attended classes. He ate in the dining hall with Min-so and Tae-woo. He studied late in the library. His bare feet padded softly on the heated floors. Sometimes he walked outside for short times, just to feel the ice under his toes. The professors no longer tried to stop him. They watched from windows. They took notes. Graduation day came faster than anyone expected. The institute held one big event every cycle. All new students who finished their first term joined a special trek. They walked to the Crystal Spire, a tall peak of pure blue ice. It stood 5 kilometers from the main building. The path went up steep slopes. Winds blew harder there. Temperature dropped to -90. The spire glowed in the weak sunlight. It was a sacred place for many species, a symbol of survival on Glacior Prime. Most professors stayed behind. They watched on screens. But this time, Professor Vexar and Dr. Lyra decided to go. They wore their best protective suits, thick boots, full helmets, heating packs on every joint. The group gathered at the gate, about 30 students, all in heavy gear, lights on helmets, ropes tied between them for safety. Ji-hoon stood at the front. No suit, no boots, just his jacket and pants. Bare feet, ready for the ice. Min-seo walked up to him. "You sure about this?" Ji-hoon nodded. "It's the tradition. I want to see the spire up close." Tae-woo grinned. "If you make it barefoot, I'll never bet against you again." The path climbed slowly. Wind pushed hard. Snow swirled around legs. Ice underfoot was smooth in places, sharp in others. The suited students moved careful, stepped slow, breaths loud in helmets. Ji-hoon walked easy. His feet felt the cold deep now, like knives at first, then numb, then nothing. He knew the feeling. He had walked snowy trails back home many times. He kept moving, one foot in front of the other. Halfway up, a young student slipped, a small winged one. Her suit caught on a rock. Heater flickered. She cried out. Cold rushed in fast. Ji-hoon turned back. He reached her in seconds. He lifted her gently, carried her a few steps to a flat spot. He pressed his hands on her suit. His body heat passed through the fabric a little. "Breathe slow," he said. "Help is coming." A drone flew down with extra heat packs. The student recovered. She looked at Ji-hoon, her eyes big behind the visor. You came back for me. Barefoot. Couldn't leave you." They kept going. The slope got steeper. Wind screamed louder. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. Some students stopped. They could not go on. They turned back with helpers. Ji-hoon reached the top first. The crystal spire rose high. Blue light danced inside it, like frozen fire. He stood at the base, bare feet on the smooth ice. Wind tore at his jacket. Snow stuck to his hair. His face red, but he did not shake. One by one the others arrived. They gathered in a circle. Professor Vexar came last. He moved slow in his heavy suit. He stopped in front of Ji-hoon. For a long moment, no one spoke. Only wind. Vexar reached down. With careful movements he opened one boot. He pulled it off. His thin leg looked strange without protection. He took one step onto the bare ice, then another, then a third. The cold hit him hard. His exoskeleton cracked faintly. Pain showed in his eyes. He could not take more. He looked at Ji-hoon. Then he bowed low, deep, respectful. "We were terrified when you walked barefoot on our landing pad," Vexar said. His voice came clear through the helmet speaker. "We thought you would die. We thought your kind was broken, reckless, mad." He paused. "Now I see. It is not madness. It is strength we cannot understand. You face what kills us, and you call it normal. You carry others when we fall. You walk where we crawl. Ji-hoon looked at him. Thank you, Professor. But it's not special. It's just us. Vexar put his boot back on. He straightened. From today, a new tradition starts. The Barefoot Challenge. Any student who wishes may try the path to the spire, with minimal gear, or none, to honor resilience. Students murmured, some excited, some scared. Ji-hoon stepped forward. He touched the spire. His fingers left faint frost marks. Anyone who wants to try, I'll walk with you. Step by step. A few students raised hands. Not many, but some. A small furry one. A scaled one. Even one jelly-like student in a special tank suit. Dr. Lyra flew closer. Her feathers bright now. No more dark fear. The galaxy will hear of this. The Deathworlder who taught us to walk taller. Ji-hoon looked around. At the spire. At the storm. At the faces. It's just a walk, but if it helps, I'm glad. They started down. Slower. Tired, but stronger. Ji-hoon led again. Bare feet sure on the ice. Blood from small new cuts froze fast. But he did not mind. The pain was small. The view was big. Back at the institute, everyone waited. When the group returned, cheers rose. Not loud, but real. Students from other worlds clapped. Professors nodded. Ji-hoon walked inside. Warm air hit him. He rubbed his feet. They tingled as feeling came back. Minso hugged him quick. You did it. Taewoo laughed. Dinner for a month. My treat. Ji-hoon smiled. Deal. That night, in the quiet halls, Professor Vexar sat alone. He looked at old scans. Ji-hoon's feet, his body, his calm face. He whispered to the empty room. We feared the Deathworlder. Now we thank him. Outside, Glacior Prime stayed cold. Wind howled. Ice stayed sharp. But something had changed. The planet no longer felt like an enemy to one student. And because of him, it felt a little less deadly to everyone else. Ji-hoon slept well. Dreams of snow, of home, of bare feet on frozen ground. He knew tomorrow would bring new challenges, and he would meet them the same way. One step at a time, barefoot if he wanted, because that was how humans lived, and the galaxy was starting to understand.